I want to share something with you that will bless your life. And I want to encourage you to always keep your devotion for God. Hold on to God. No matter what, no matter the happenings around your life or whatever the circumstances may look like. If you study the life of Joseph, Joseph was a young, vibrant man that had dreams, and he had dreams about how he will be great and how his mom, dad, the brothers will bow their star bowed before his and things like that. And so the brothers were not really happy about this, even though the dad kept it to heart. And so they took Joseph and almost killed him before Reuben intervened and said, let's sell him. So they sold him rather than killing him and said, okay, let's see what will become of his dreams. So they sold Joseph to a strange land, Egypt. Now Joseph was a slave in Egypt. Remember, he was no longer in his land, in his homeland, his native land. If he did not stand a chance in his native land, how is he going to stand a chance in Egypt? I'm sure he might have thought to himself, God, what's happening? You said this, you said that, you have shown me this, you have shown me that. Now see where I am. If I could not fulfill these dreams, this thing could not come to pass in my native land, how much more harder will it be in a foreign land? So if I did not stand a chance in my native land, my homeland, how much more in the foreign land? And then he was tempted. And Joseph said something so vital. He said, I'm not going to do this great wickedness. How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? That means he still had God in mind. He still kept his devotion for God. He still had reference. He still referenced God. He still feared God. No matter what had happened, he would have been angry with God. I'm sure if it's some Christians, they would have been angry with God and say, God, look at where I am now. I beg, forget about this God. And after he showed that he still had devotion, he still had reference for God, from there, from frying pan to fire, he went to prison. That made it worse. At that point now, he should have been saying to himself, okay, I'm done with this God. I'm done with everything. I'm done with God. Just go with your God. Then he tried to figure out my life. He should have said to himself, I'm done with God. That's it. That's it. This is the limit. This is the highest I can take. But still in prison, he still had fear for God. He still believed God. He still held on to God. He still hoped. He never lost his hope. He still had devotion for God. He still had reference for God. And that's why you're supposed to be very, very careful, because sometimes in life, when things become so difficult, keep hoping. Hold on to God. Still hold on to your devotion, your reference for God, because something big is about to break out. From the prison, he went straight to the palace. Not as a servant this time around. He went straight to the palace. He was even more senior to his boss, his former boss, Potiphar. Potiphar now was under him. From the prison straight to the palace. Do you know what Pharaoh said to Joseph? He said, you shall be over my house. He said, and according to your words, according to thy word shall all my people be ruled. He said, only in the throne will I be greater than thou. He said, the only way I will be greater is only in the throne. He said, see, I have set thee over all the lands of Egypt. You see, if it's some Christians, at the point where they went to prison, that would have been the end. Like, forget about this God. Forget, that's the end. As in, me and God, just go your way, let it go my way. You see? But Joseph kept his devotion for God. Even in a foreign land, he still remembered God. Even in a foreign land. Potiphar's wife, he would have succumbed to Potiphar's wife, and Potiphar's wife would have been giving him small things, and make him maybe the chief servant, and be giving him small things, and be showing him small favor. that's rubbish. What he had at the end of the day was bigger than whatever Potiphar's wife would have given to him. That's why you should stop falling for this small trap the devil is setting for you. What God has for you is greater than all those things. All these small things the devil is chipping you, throwing for you, and you're falling for all these small traps, thinking that that's it. God has something greater, bigger. At the end of the day, Joseph became even bigger than Potiphar, bigger than Potiphar's wife. You see, the Bible talked about Jesus, how that with tears we crying, he prayed to God, and that because of his devotion, his reference for God, God heard him. That's Hebrews chapter 5 verse 7. God heard him because of his devotion for God, his reference for God. Don't throw away your reference for God. It doesn't matter how hard things may be. It doesn't matter how bad the situation may be. God has a plan for you, a better plan, bigger plan. Let me tell you something. The enemy cannot take God unaware. The devil cannot take God by surprise. Your enemies cannot take God by surprise. Everything that is happening is already figured out. God has already put it in his plan. It's already in God's plan to get you to where he wants you to be. The devil, all what he's doing, and the enemy, they cannot take God by surprise. You see? So, no matter what the devil thinks he's doing, God has everything figured out. Don't lose your devotion for God. Don't lose your reference for God. No matter what is happening around you, no matter how hard things seems to be like, the end will be greater. So hold on to God. God has great plans for you. But if you fall for the cheap things the devil is bringing your way, you will miss out at the greater and bigger things God has for you. Imagine if Joseph fell for Potiphar's wife, and Potiphar's wife started showing Joseph little useless favors. Imagine what Joseph would have missed out on. After Pharaoh, Joseph was the next in command over the whole land, over the house of Pharaoh. Pharaoh's wife, everything about Pharaoh was under Joseph. Pharaoh told Joseph, he said, "Thou shalt be over my house, first my house, and according to thy word shall my people be ruled." That means, according to thy word shall my people be ruled. That means, whatever Joseph says, that's what the people will obey, including Potiphar, including Potiphar's wife. So imagine Joseph fell for Potiphar's wife and stayed down and felt that was all there was to it. Look at what he would have missed out on. So stop falling for these small traps the devil is setting for you. Keep your devotion for God. Carry with you the reference, fear for God. The fear of the Lord should be an integral part of your life. Practice the fear of the Lord. No matter how hard things may be, or no matter how difficult things may be, don't compromise. Stay with God. Hold on to God. He has a better plan. And at the end, you will see what God will make out of your life. You see. At the end, the brothers, they bowed. They felt they have gotten rid of him, but everything they were doing was in God's plan. God had already figured it out. They couldn't take him by surprise. He's God. He's too big to be caught off guard, to be taken by surprise. You can't take God by surprise. He's the beginning, he's the end. He knows the beginning from the end. He knows the end from the beginning. You see? So, don't give up on God. Stay with God.